half-siblings bullied me for existing, celebrated my mom's death, and now they're furious I kept grandma's jewelry dad gave me after years of cruelty. Why should I care what they think? I, 24 female, am the product of an affair. My father was married when I was born and his marriage fell apart because of it. My dad eventually divorced his now ex-wife and his 3 kids. My half-siblings, 32 female, 30 male, 28 male, have always resented me for it. I understand that what happened between our parents was messy and destroyed their happy family. Still, I was just a baby and they've punished me for it my whole life. Growing up, they excluded me from everything. They didn't want me around, made cruel comments when I was, and acted like I didn't exist unless they were making me feel unwelcome. The worst part was when my mom passed away when I was 19. While I was mourning my mother's death, they openly celebrated. I found out they made jokes about how the trash took itself out and threw a party less than a month after the funeral to celebrate it. That broke me and I've been no contact with them for years over it. Our shared grandmother wasn't much better. She wasn't outright cruel to me, but she clearly favored my half-siblings. They spent vacations in summer with her while she barely acknowledged me. She also made it known on more than one occasion that she wanted her jewelry to go to my oldest half-sister, 32, when she passed away as the oldest female grandchild in the family since she never had any daughters of her own. It was well established to everyone who knew her that this was her intention. However, she didn't leave a notarized will, so legally her estate went to my dad as her only child. To my shock, my dad gave the entire jewelry collection to me. He said he regretted how I'd been treated by the family and wanted me to have something meaningful. It was the first time he'd ever done something to truly acknowledge me, and I was floored. Now my half-siblings are furious, especially my oldest half-sibling. She's demanding I give her some of the jewelry, claiming that since she was closer to our grandmother, and always intended for her sister to have it, it's unfair that I kept it all. She even said I wasn't really part of the family and has been calling me selfish and accusing me of stealing what was rightfully hers. I refused. I told her that after years of being treated like garbage, I'm not giving up the one thing my dad has ever done to acknowledge me. She accused me of being bitter and petty, saying I was using this to punish them for things that happened years ago. I'll admit, part of me feels like I'm finally getting some compensation for their horrible treatment of me. But the other part of me wonders if I'm being petty or cruel by keeping it all when the others are so much closer to her. So am I the idiot? What a bunch of hypocrites. LOL. You're bitter and petty. The woman who celebrated your mother's death, not the idiot. I tell her face that she's right, that I am bitter, petty, and punishing them. Then tell her it's what they deserve after the way they treated you. I mean, they threw a party when OP's mom passed and said that the trash took itself out for Pete's sake. And they were all adults 4 to 8 years older than then 19-year-old OP. It's not like they're referring to more excusable to be angry behavior when they were children. The half-sibs messed around and found out, and now they're reaping the consequences of their horrible actions. Seriously, the epitome of petty, bitter, and cruel. Honey, next time they ask, tell them maybe you weren't actually close to Grandma enough for her to make a will. Maybe Grandma secretly loved me and told Dad to give me all the jewelry. Now stop bothering me. Then block them. OP, your father was her next of kin and you're his choice to receive the jewelry. If she really wanted someone else to get it, she'd have made a will. Block them. And if they continue to harass or threaten you in any form, get a restraining order. Also, make sure the jewelry is safely secured. Get it appraised and insured. Keep it all, or better yet, sell it. Justifiable petty. I, 20 female, I'm in a tough situation and I'm not sure if I'm overreacting, so I need some outside perspectives. I've been with my fiancé Charles, 35 male, for about 2 years and everything seemed fine until recently. A few weeks ago, my young teen sister Amy came to stay with us for just a few days while our parents were out of town. During her stay, I started noticing some really unsettling things. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but Charles started making comments that made me feel incredibly uncomfortable. He would call her so hot and would say things like, "You're going to turn heads when you're older, and you've got such a body on you already." The worst part was when he said, "I'd be jealous if I were your boyfriend. Every guy will be looking at you soon." I tried to ignore it at first, but it kept happening, and I began to feel sick to my stomach. Then one evening, I overheard him telling a friend on the phone, "Amy's got that look now. It's like she's starting to bloom." It was honestly one of the creepiest things I've ever heard. I felt like I was losing my mind, and I just knew I couldn't stay in that relationship anymore. I confronted him about his behavior, and he immediately got defensive. He denied it and said I was being paranoid and that I should trust him. He insisted that he was just being nice and that I was overreacting. I didn't care. I packed my things, broke off the engagement, and moved back in with my parents. Now my friends and some family members are telling me I overreacted. They say I should have talked it out with him first, but I don't see how that would have changed anything. So am I the idiot for breaking up with my fiancé because of his creepy comments towards my little sister? Not the idiot, but drop the man and the friends defending him. That is a red flag on fire behavior. That age gap is too much. Your sister is not much younger than you are. To us older people, him being with you is just as sick as you picturing him with your sister. Get out. I'd also look him up to see if he's on an offender list. As someone who's turning 20 in February, I just can't see 35-year-old men as attractive or imagine marrying them, especially since many of them seem to specifically go after younger girls. Girl, you're 20, not 28. If he were your high school sweetheart or something, that'd be different. But not a grown adult. He's the same age as one of my cousins who's a doctor. He has the life and responsibilities of an adult while you've just stopped being a teen. You're not in the same stage of life or mindset, and he expects you to just ignore his behavior. Drop the friends encouraging this, and definitely drop this weird man who's probably not even liked by women of his own age. That's full on mental. What jumps out at me more is about 2 years. So you're talking about a 33-year-old with an 18-year-old, or maybe with a 17-year-old. This is he asked her out the day she turned 18 vibes. Charles probably groomed Opie before she was 18, and he's probably looking to move on to the newer model now. Sounds like Opie is getting too old for her fiancé. So I, 27 male, recently won big on sports betting, around $15,000. My girlfriend Sarah, 25, has been with me for 2 years and we live together. Her best friend Jessica, 26 female, is a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan. Here's where I might be the idiot. Sarah had to work late for an important client presentation this week, and I knew Jessica was devastated she couldn't get tickets to Sabrina's sold-out show. I surprised Jessica with tickets without telling Sarah first, since I knew she couldn't go anyway due to work. These tickets were really expensive, $1,900 total. Jessica was over the moon excited, and we had a great time at the concert. Nothing inappropriate happened. We grabbed dinner before, enjoyed the show, and dropped her home right after. Pure platonic friend vibes. When Sarah found out, she completely lost it. She said I betrayed her trust by taking her best friend on what could be seen as a date, and that I should have at least told her first. She's especially angry because she likes Sabrina too, though not as much as Jessica, and feels I should have waited for another show we could attend together. I tried explaining that I was just being nice since I had unexpected windfall money and knew Jessica was a super fan who was crushed about missing the tour. I had no ulterior motives. Sarah isn't speaking to me now, and Jessica feels terrible about the whole situation. I genuinely thought I was doing something kind for a disappointed friend, but now I'm wondering if I crossed a line. Sarah and I have never had trust issues before this. So, am I the idiot for taking my girlfriend's best friend to a concert without discussing it with my girlfriend first? You are the idiot. You won a big amount of money. True, but you spent a huge chunk of it on a surprise gift for a girl who's not your girlfriend, without telling your girlfriend, and took her out to dinner as well. It definitely sounds like you're trying to win points with Jessica. Your girlfriend was right. You should have waited for a night when all three of you could go, or at least ask your girlfriend first. Yeah, that's the bare minimum. $15,000 won minus taxes. You spent $1,900 on tickets. All around, it's $2,000 for parking and just some drinks, while assuming the friend paid for more. That's probably about 20%. It's also not a huge windfall. It's a huge windfall if you're young, immature, and financially illiterate, or you really have a thing for your girlfriend's friend. Exactly. When you win a bunch of money and your first thought is, let me secretly spend $2,000 on my girlfriend's best friend. That's super sketchy. The dinner and concert combo make it look like he's trying to get closer to Jessica. Any reasonable girlfriend would see those red flags. But Jessica too. She could have told her best friend, but they are both shady. You are the idiot. I hope you enjoyed the relationship while it lasted. My parents were best friends with a couple named Ben and Kathy. They had a daughter who was a year younger than me. Growing up, she was horrible, especially to me. She'd steal my stuff and she'd embarrass me in school and bully me. In middle school, she passed around a photo of me as a toddler where I had no clothes on. She told everyone how I wet the bed until I was pre-tween. It turned out it was an undiagnosed kidney condition. She also tried to make me out to a creep who was spying on girls changing. That wasn't true. It turned out to be her boyfriend at the time. But she said she saw me when some of the girls complained about feeling eyes on them. Ben and Kathy died when she was a teen and my parents adopted her and finished raising her. My sister and I were so angry at them. They knew what she was like, but they said she was family and they promised her parents and we should love and be there for her. After the death of her parents and my parents adopted her, she changed and suddenly wanted to be close to my sister and me, but we wanted nothing to do with her. Our parents put us in therapy and punished us for ignoring her, but we were angry with them too and went low contact when we went to college. My sister is 2 years younger than me. We're still in very low contact. My sister got married a few weeks ago, didn't invite our parents or this girl, and I walked her down the aisle. It was talked about at a family party over the weekend. Our extended family found it sweet. Then the girl said something about doing it for both sisters and I said I would never do it for her. She looked hurt, and my parents told me I was the one who couldn't let a child grow up and change how she was. I said she tried to get me in big trouble with that spying on the girls changing. I said that crap can ruin people. I also told them they chose someone who was never family over their actual kids. My sister backed me up. They said I didn't have to act like it was outrageous that I'd walk this girl down the aisle too, and they said she's my sister whether I like it or not. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Why would you walk her down the aisle when she has her adopted father to do it anyway? Your sister's situation is entirely different because she didn't feel her own father should do it because of the fact he was there for his adopted daughter instead of for her. Neither of you want anything to do with them. So why on earth would you do it for the other sister? Because adoptive sister loves the control and hold she still has over OP and his real sister. She knows the lousy parents are on her side, and she wants everyone to bend to her whim. She is still a bully. OP, I'd cut them all off and don't even invite your parents to your wedding. Far out? Go and post on social media just how awful she's been if others try to convince you to associate with her. She may be your adopted sister, but she's also your bully, and that outweighs any familial relationship. Do your parents not care how this girl treated you? Sure, people can change, but scars from bullying never go away. Your adopted sister is going to have to live with the guilt and accept that you want nothing to do with her. The person walking down the aisle chooses who accompanies them, but one can also decline to do so. Stay low contact with your parents and adoptive sister. Actions have consequences. Stop engaging with all of them for peace of mind. Stop trying to explain. The answer ends at no. I, 45F, have a good friend, 41F, coming to visit for a week. I stay up much later than her, and I work from home. My office is next to the guest room. She told me she wanted to talk before she visited, so we called. She said that I was way too loud at night and asked if I could work in another room. Now look, I'm not blasting music or playing loud video games. I type on my laptop, occasionally print something, and occasionally make a work call. She's literally complaining about the sound of a keyboard, printer, and phone. Keep in mind I have my phone on the lowest volume, so when it rings you can barely hear it, and when anyone is visiting I always try to talk quieter on the phone. I don't think it's right of her to ask me to change my entire routine. I told her I'd do my best to keep the noise down, but apparently that's not good enough for her. I just feel as if her demanding attitude is really rude and that I shouldn't have to change my personal routine for her. Again, it's not as if I'm going around blasting music or banging pots and pans. I'm literally typing, occasionally printing a document, and taking brief quiet calls, all from a room over. It's not like I'm in the same room as her. Am I the idiot for telling her I will try but make no promises, which she's saying isn't good enough? Eat it. She usually goes to bed around 8 p.m. and I usually work until 11 p.m. We've known each other longer than 15 years, and while I of course want her to be comfortable, I just don't think her demands are reasonable. Not the idiot. I would tell her maybe it's better if she stayed in a hotel, as you won't be able to be as quiet as she would like you to be, because of your work schedule. Who are these people who stay in people's homes and have all these demands? Wear earplugs or put white noise on or something to prevent you from hearing the noise. I thought maybe she got tired of hearing the typing at something really late like 2 a.m. But 11 p.m. isn't absurdly late for an adult. 15 years is a long time for a friendship, and if she visits fairly regularly there may be little space for more compromise. Maybe only take calls until 9:30 or install a few noise dampening sheets on the shared wall. Maybe try and open up the discussion to see where she might be able to give more on her end. OP should not compromise her work schedule for a company that's already aware of her ROAR. That person is a user, not a friend. The only time I've gone to bed at 8 p.m. was when I was sick or had to get up at 2 on my early morning flight. She needs to find her own accommodation. She certainly feels comfortable enough to be extremely rude when making this request. Telling someone they're way too loud, especially when you're expecting them to host you for a week, is crazy work.